10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
When they sleep on you, tuck them in, baby. Winflato. Welcome in to the new week of the Mack Truck Podcast here on Spotify, Podbean, and wherever else you get your audio streaming pleasure. I am your host with mostest, Mackenzie Brooks, a.k.a. the Mack Truck, a.k.a. your worst nightmare. We're back after a week. Had to take a week off. Caught laryngitis from yelling and screaming at some of my summer events, which included a nice trip to Canton, Ohio to the Hall of Fame Stadium, where I got to watch my football team, the Nebraska Pride, claim the WFA Division II National Championship trophy and hoist it after being in its third year of inception as a women's professional football team. Got a lot to talk about here. Also had a softball tournament down in Churro that was really fun, and we'll get to that in here in a little bit. This broadcast is brought to you by Chopping It Up with P. Scott, Prescott Kelly, found on Spotify, StreamYard, Facebook Live, and wherever else you get your audio streaming pleasure. Also brought to you by the Three Man Weave Podcast with Caleb and Evan Bradfield and Big D Money himself. Also found on Spotify, YouTube, and wherever else you get your audio and viewing streaming pleasure. The amazing background music and theme song brought to you by Mad Noise Entertainment and Freddie F. Morris, because we can't have a song and broadcast without him, clearly. Also brought to you by Camilo Rodriguez of CCR Webflow and Design. He is the one who created the silhouette and logo for the Mack Truck Podcast itself. Also brought to you by the 806 Sports Radio Show, as well as the Sip Off, both hosted and co-hosted by Megan Price herself. Also found on Facebook Live, StreamYard, and wherever else you get your audio streaming pleasure. Also brought to you by Patton That Whiskey. Daniel and Jen Patton's exotic blend of whiskey tells their accentuating story of their marriage and love story in whiskey form. Double aged in a wine barrel and into a whiskey barrel. Like I said, they're our official sponsor, so make sure you're checking them out on Instagram at Them Pattons. Also brought to you by In My Bag Apparel and Customs by none other than Mr. Evan Bradfield himself. And that's my best friend, so I'm always going to plug him. Also brought to you by Truth Barbering Shop, 6563 University Avenue. The barbering and beard stylings of Chris Fats, Dixon the Barber, and Gary Duke Williams himself. Make sure you're hitting them up. And make sure you're getting your kids into school lines for haircuts. Also held by Truth Barbering Shop from August 19th to the 26th. Back to school haircuts, $25 a haircut. Again, 6563 University Avenue. And since we're on the topic of getting back into school here, your community kickback presented by 84 Fresh and In My Bag Apparel and Customs. August 24th, just about 10 days away. 11 to 7 p.m. at 8801 University Avenue, better known as the 84 Fresh location. Make sure you hit up at @InMy_bag 2023 on Instagram, or at the word 80, the number 4, and fresh on Instagram if you have inquiries to be a vendor. Vendor tables are 34 outside and 54 inside. Music, food, fun, jewelries, clothing, artists, barbers, games, and anything else you can think of, along with the greatest edition and newest edition of a small carnival and prizes going on this event. So make sure you're hitting us up. We will be there as part of the media as well as the In My Bag and apparel and customs line itself. And lastly, as far as our events here in the greater Des Moines area, the second edition of the Sports Card Showcase presented by the Card Traffickers Sports Card Inc. If you went to the first one, you know where it's at. But if not, 480 Bass Pro Lane Northwest, better known as the Hyatt Place Hotel in Altoona, Iowa. Being held September 6th and 10th, 7th. That is a Friday and Saturday. 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. on the 7th or on the 6th rather, and 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on the 7th. That is the Saturday. The Mack Truck Podcast will be there. Pat and That Whiskey will be there, along with In My Bag apparel and customs, as well as food from Johnny's Italian Steakhouse and the Burger Shack. It is also located right across the street from the Altoona outlets. So if you know where the Altoona outlets are, you know where to find us on those dates. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, we got a lot to talk about in a short amount of time. We've been gone for a little bit. Like I said, I lost my voice at the Canton trip for the WFA All-Star Weekend. That was a success. Nebraska Pride is again the D2 national champion and look to move into that D1 sector of women's tackle football. I can't wait to make my comeback in 2025. I had to take this year off, as you know, but I'm glad that I did. It's given me some great perspective. It's given me some time to reflect and just reestablish my priorities as far as life and for sports and broadcasting in the space. Also did my yearly softball tournament. If you know what happened to me 2 years ago, I did pass out during said tournament down in Truro, Iowa, due to my blood sugar dropping because I do have hypoglycemia. And sometimes when it gets really hot, I can load myself up with a bunch of, good food and energy, and it just gets sucked out of me. And that's exactly what happened. But nothing happened this year. I made it through the tournament. It was really good. Really fun. Had a lot of people making sure I was okay. All that fun stuff. It's a good time to be alive here, folks. And we're gonna start out on a little bit of a somber note. Not really somber note, but more or less just really just reiterating the fact that it's okay to not be okay. It is okay to feel your feelings. It's okay, even if you're a guy. And specifically, I'm talking to you, the gentleman in my life. Just because you are a male does not mean you need to be strong all the time. Nobody said you had to be strong all the time. Nobody said you couldn't cry. Nobody said you couldn't be upset. Nobody said you had to keep your feelings in. That's what society tells you. Society's full of a bunch of jackasses. And if you are feeling some type of way, feel your feelings out. Literally feel your feelings out. It is literally okay. There's no rule. There's no law. There's no anything that says you can't feel your feelings out because you're a dude. And the same thing goes for women too. Just because you're a woman doesn't mean you show emotions too much. That doesn't mean you can't be over the top with your emotions sometimes. It's literally okay not to be okay. It's worse to hold it in and not try to vent it out in a healthy manner. It's just literally okay. And I want everybody that listens to me on here or has any kind of relationship, whether it be social media or personally, I just want you guys to know that it's okay. It's literally okay. And you don't need to conform yourself into this box of what society thinks you need to be or how to act to be successful. And like I said, it's fine. Things happen, but that's what we're here for. Moving on, I'm going to talk some Olympic reflection here, recap, just some touch on some things that happened, starting out with the medal counts for the top four. Team USA took the medal count as a whole with 126 medals, 40 gold, 44 silver, and 42 bronze. China, also 40 gold, 27 silver, and 24 bronze for 91 total. Japan, 20 gold, 12 silver, 13 bronze for 45 total medals. And Australia rounding out the top five with 18 gold, 19 silver, and 16 bronze for 53 medals total. Like I said, lots to talk about as far as Olympic recaps, starting with Jordan Chiles coming from the Associated Press. In a nutshell, Jordan Chiles was told that she had to give back her bronze medal that she earned in the women's artistic gymnastics floor exercise final after a little bit of a controversy with the Court of Arbitrary Sport that controls the decisions of appeals made by Olympic coaches the Team USA coach for Jordan Childs, that is Cecile Landy, did submit appeal after the results came out, stating that Jordan Childs did not complete a required maneuver for her floor routine. And the judges saw it in the same light as Coach Landy and essentially awarded Jordan Childs the bronze medal. And after said gymnastics event was done for the Olympics, the news came out stating that Coach Landy submitted the appeal request 4 seconds after the allotted time for appeals for gymnastics, which is exactly 60 seconds after the original results come out. And a second appeal in favor of Coach Landy currently shows and states that Coach Landy put in the appeal request 13 seconds before the minute allotted time was up. Now there is an ongoing effort for Jordan Childs and Team USA to afford her the opportunity to keep the bronze medal. But then what do you do? Because at first, the Romanian gymnast who was in third place, who Jordan Childs with the appeal essentially jumped over to grab that. What do you do? Do you tell Jordan Childs she has to actually uphold that and give that medal back? Do you award the Romanian gymnast a medal as well? I mean, essentially, I feel like that's Indian giving. Like, that's basically saying, like, oh, you can have this, and then saying, oh, no, you can't have this because we got it wrong and you didn't do it, which is incorrect. Because the initial appeal agreed with Team USA and Coach Landy, stating that Jordan Childs completed such a maneuver that she got deducted on. That's neither here nor there. We're going to give you more information once we get that information readily available in terms of updates for her having to give back the bronze medal that she was awarded. Moving on into the next thing on our Olympic recap and reflection here. And before I get into Team USA men's basketball, also presented to you by ESPN and Brianna Williams, staff writer for ESPN, I feel like this 31st Olympiad for the Summer Olympics was one of the best to boot. One of the many ones that I've been alive for, rather, that I can actually comprehensively remember. Some of the best results, and just being able to see other countries either dominate or get medals in first time medals for some sports. It was just wholesomely a good Olympic game, personally, in my opinion. Especially good for Team USA men's basketball, winning over the host country of France in the gold medal game with a score of 98-87. LeBron James, King James, gets the tournament of the Olympiad MVP. Stephen Curry for the gold medal game. Listen, Chef Curry was cooking the last two games. Okay. Last two games, but especially the gold medal game. 24 points, all 24 points came from those long bomb threes. And if you know how to do math, 8 times 3 is 24. So do the math. How many 3-pointers did he shoot? 8 total, and 4 of them you couldn't even see the net move as the ball was going in. It was wonderful to watch. Kevin Durant becomes first American man to win 4 gold medals as part of men's team basketball USA. And I'm going to say this, and respectfully, because I have a lot of respect for this man, Jason Tatum, who, and rightfully so, probably felt slighted because he didn't get a lot of minutes, just like his cohort in Derek White, both of them coming off a very, very, very good championship run in terms of the NBA championship, being on the Boston Celtics team. I feel like Jason Tatum came into this game or this tournament kind of assuming that he was going to get more minutes because he's an NBA champion, and rightfully so, but he also has to remember this is like his first or second Olympics. Okay. When it comes to international tournament play in terms of sports, you want to put your 4, 5, 6, 7 best. You want to put your best squad on the team that you know is going to get you to success. Then you can plug and play. I think the only reason why Steph Curry got as many minutes as he did is because of who he is and his pedigree. And this is not to say Jason Tatum can't change the outlook of a game, because he sure the hell can, and it's been done. I mean, it was just done during the playoffs of the NBA and the championship. But Steph Curry's at a different level. Steph Curry can change the outlook of a game in about 30 seconds to a minute and a half, if not less. If opportunity allows, Steph Curry can literally change the outlook of a game. It's been a proven fact. But when you think about it, who was Jason Tatum going to replace? You tell me who Jason Tatum was going to replace as far as swapping for starters. You have LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, Drew Holiday, and Anthony Edwards, who I believe this was also his first Olympics as well. The only other person that you switch out for Anthony Edwards is Stephen Curry. And there's your starting five. And Stephen Curry didn't exactly have the greatest start to his Olympic tournament, especially in pool play. A little bit shaky, just, trying to get Olympic play under you, because those of you who know, Olympic basketball is a little bit faster pace because it's 10-minute quarters rather than 15-minute quarters, 12-minute quarters, depending on WNBA, NBA, that type of thing, FIBA. But Jason Tatum, I feel like I said, just came into this Olympic tournament thinking that he was going to get more minutes than he really got, and rightfully so. Obviously, if you're good enough to be on Team USA, if you are literally selected to play on Team USA. But I really just wish Jason Tatum would have elected to, adopt an attitude like Tyrese Haliburton. And in fact, Tyrese Haliburton, after the gold medal game for the men, was in the bus or on the airplane, I can't remember which one, but literally took a selfie and put the caption, "When you didn't do anything in the group project and still got an A." And literally that was his role was to be there to support the team and to help the team if somebody went hurt, needed a break, to essentially come off the bench and be the role player. Sometimes coming off the bench and being a role player isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's all about how you can help the team at that time. At that time, Jason Tatum, Derek White, Drew Holiday, Tyrese Haliburton, Bam Adebayo all had a similar role in that. I would say the only difference is Bam Adebayo definitely had more minutes. Drew Holiday definitely had more minutes because they've also been playing at a high level for a longer amount of time than Jason Tatum and Anthony Edwards, Tyrese Haliburton, those people. Moving in to the next topic, that is the WNBA or Team USA Women's Basketball. A'ja Wilson is your Team USA Women's 31st Olympiad MVP, and Diana Taurasi gets number 6. That's the GOAT. But if you didn't see this game, you missed out on a hell of an effort by France. The Team USA women had to claw and fight their way out of a 13-point deficit coming out of halftime. But when you get in transition with Team USA, and you keep constantly switching and keep putting fresh legs in there, it's going to take over. And that's exactly what happened. A'ja Wilson, one of the best players in basketball, did what she does, got big time blocks. Breanna Stewart, big time blocks. Brittany Griner, when she was in, or when they were in, rather, big time blocks. The defense was on point. The backcourt was ready after that. Team USA again wins in a thriller over France, 67-66. Again, Brittany Griner was speechless after winning this gold for Team USA. Again, for those of you who don't remember, Brittany Griner was, I don't want to use the phrase held captive, but essentially was held in prison in Russian prison for having a cannabis pen coming into the country. And unfortunately for them, at that point, they just needed to learn the country's policies when it comes to that type of thing. And that's not to say they didn't, but the fact that they were so humble and so just emotional at the fact that they were still able to come back and have a big bounce back and a big comeback after that entire thing and still represent the country in the light that they see it and love it is great. So those of you that are out here talking about she hates her country and good riddance, stop acting like y'all have never fucked up before. Stop acting like y'all have never made mistakes. Stop acting like y'all are perfect. That is not what we're here to do. Y'all are not perfect, because if you were, this would be a completely different place. But just like I always say, perfection is intangible. Literally, perfection is intangible. What's perfect to me ain't perfect to Kamala Harris, ain't perfect to Donald Trump, ain't perfect to a piece of pound cake with lemon frosting, ain't perfect to a bucket of extra crispy from Colonel Sanders' joint. Okay? Perfection is intangible. It is viewed differently depending on who you are and what you do with your life and your priorities. But back to basketball. Fact of the matter is Brittany Griner was proud to sing and cry the national anthem as their team and her team and the entire women's team USA listened and sung along with the United States national anthem, receiving the gold medal in basketball. But Gabby Williams for Team France, who used to play for the Chicago Sky, and I'm still sitting here thinking how the hell she hasn't been signed yet or re-signed or picked up anywhere. Gabby Williams comes trotting down the court with just about, let's say, 10 to 12 seconds left on the game clock. Shot clock's already off. Literally just takes one short step inside the 2-point to drill a backboard 2-point, just like old school bank shot, and damn near sent that game into overtime. But the camera review showed that she stepped in front. Her foot was in front of the 3-point arc, which essentially made it a 2-point shot. That game was a thriller. Listen, I'll tell you, this game was crazy, y'all. Like, crazy.
Oh.
It was ridiculous, and I loved every single bit of it. And it sucks because, like, the Olympics are over, but we get to hop back into WNBA, return after the All-Star break and Olympic break, which we're going to get to here in just a second. Team USA women get the gold versus Brazil, and they beat Brazil 1-0. I've slowly been getting into soccer. I'm starting to understand it, and I'm starting to really like it. I'm going to tell you this. Rose Lavelle, good. Trinity Rodman, who I swear is just literally a younger version of her father, very tenacious. And soccer I feel like it's the perfect sport for her. Like, you want to be able to uphold I'm sure she wants to do her best to uphold the family last name, but doing it in her own way and not so much following in her father's footsteps as far as the sport of basketball. Because Dennis Rodman, to me, is one of the goats of mental warfare, one of the goats of defensive basketball in terms of getting into your skin, getting into the paint, and just eating you alive for breakfast. And of course, with the wild hair colors, Trinity Rodman had some cool colors in her hair throughout the entire tournament. So we love to see it. I love to see it. Moving on into the last couple of things as far as our Olympic recap. Track and field, Noah Lyles earns bronze in the men's 200-meter final while having COVID. And before that, wins the men's final 100-meter dash by 15 thousandths of a second, and literally just by putting your torso to the finish line. They literally say anytime you're running a sprint or a dash or 40 yard, whatever it is, whether you're playing football, basketball, don't jump because it adds it adds seconds to your time. Lean forward with your body inertia. And that is exactly what Noah Lyles did. And I'm here for it. And we're going to get to Noah Lyles towards the end of the show with this tit for tat thing he got going on with the NFL's Tyreek Hill, who respectfully in his own right is also one of the fastest humans on earth. And I'm telling you this right now. He's not faster than Noah Lyles. Ain't no way he is faster than Noah Lyles. And I'm going to tell you why a little bit later. Quincy Wilson, the young 16-year-old phenom, going back to school with a gold medal. Quincy Wilson, essentially did not qualify and just barely didn't qualify for many individual events and some team events when it came to the Olympic trials, but was added to the men's 4x4 relay and won it. Ran the first leg, got a little gas, and that, and that's okay. There was more experienced runners from other countries just giving him love and giving his props and like just recognizing game. And that's what it is. The Olympics has no age, like no age limit, no gender, no race, no nothing. If you can perform your sport at the highest level and do it well, that is what it is about. Literally, it is an international athletic tournament. Like, I don't give a damn if you are 14 years old, but I do believe there are some like actual age gaps depending on, or age thresholds depending on the sport. But that's also what the Junior Olympics are for, and Junior Worlds and things like that. Again, depending on your respective sport. Fact of the matter is Quincy Wilson goes back to school in just about a week or so, and he's going back as an Olympic champion at 16 years old. That's crazy. That's crazy to even fathom. I don't know if anybody can really, really fathom the fact that this young man is literally still in high school, literally a sophomore or junior in high school, going back to school for the new school year. And everybody in the school, his district, the state is going to know what he did because they literally, respectfully, if they watched, know what he did and what he just accomplished at 16 years old. Because who? Go off, Mr. Wilson. Also in track and field news, the mixed 4x4 final was taken silver by Team USA. Valerie Ullman, discus throw for the women, wins gold and throws a bomb of 69.50 meters. Listen, I don't know if anybody has actually done anything in track and field as far as field events. I used to throw discus in high school and college and a little bit after college. It takes severe control and body awareness to do the full layout spin and zip that thing out of your hand and have it come out perfectly to go that far. Valerie Allman did the damn thing and did it well. And along with doing it well is her Team USA track specific teammate, and Sha'Carri Richardson gets silver in the women's 100 meter final, and then pulls the anchor leg for the women's 4x1 and comes back from third and ends up having just about 10 to, I would say 6 to 10 meters in front of Jamaica and Great Britain to win. And one of the most iconic photos from the Olympics is literally Sha'Carri Richardson grabbing this baton, making up the meters, putting the gap, and then turning and looking at the other two and making a face like, yeah, I'm here. What you gonna do? Turns her back and still gets a record. Literally still gets a record after doing all that, pretty much coming from quote unquote behind in terms of the top three to win the women's 4x1 final. Like, listen, Sha'Carri Richardson is her. This entire Team USA docket of sports athletes have been them this entire time. I'm for it. Moving on to our two final recap topics as far as team sports here. Spencer Lee, former University of Iowa championship wrestler, gets silver in the men's freestyle 57 kilogram match. Unfortunately, gets pinned just before the match is over to lose those 2 points that would have gotten him gold. Still phenomenal to see what he has gone through at the University of Iowa, just pure domination, all 5 years he was there. Then to do it at the Worlds, then do it at Olympic trials, and then do it here. Phenomenal. Kennedy Blades, also in her own right, one of very few females to get gold from the United States in terms of wrestling and combative sports. Gets silver in the women's freestyle 76 kilometer match as well. Again, very similar situation to Spencer Lee as far as just getting pinned shortly before the determining factor of the end of the match that would have gotten her gold. But still, these Olympics and just the Olympics in general, if you get selected and you put in the work and you do the training and you get that phone call or email stating like you've been selected for Team USA, it's still a huge feat and accomplishment. It's amazing. Moving into the last team sport here. Team USA men's water polo wins the bronze versus the Hungarian men's water polo team with a score of 11-8. And I'm gonna say this because we're just moving into kind of an ongoing topic here. We're continuing information topic here. So those of you who don't remember, Imani Khalif, naturally born female, Algerian boxer rather, wins gold in her respective weight class. And after said boxing finals were concluded and she gets that gold medal, she files an official grievance and complaint against the IOC, which is the International Olympic Committee, for them misrepresenting her and misgendering her. She has a genetic defect. In other words, a short over for those of y'all who pay attention in class and don't know what body anatomy is and how it works. When a fetus is conceived, they are born with both the male reproductive organ and the female reproductive organ. Your genetics determine whether you're going to be a male or a female. Imani Khalif was born a female. Part of the male reproductive organ as far as the chromosome rather. Let me fix my verbiage. The chromosome rather, the male chromosome, she still has. It is I'm not going to call it a birth defect, but essentially it is a defect of her genes. So she looks more masculine than most women, and rightfully so. People are going to throw out assumptions. Oh, that's a dude. She doesn't look any kind of feminine. But who's to say that you have to look feminine to be a female? As far as just talking just straight genetics. No, I'm not talking transitioning. I'm not talking transgender human beings. I'm talking just genetically. If you are born a female, literally, y'all are stupid. There are people out there who are born female that have more masculine presenting looks, properties. There are males out there who are born naturally male that may look a little bit more feminine or softer in the face. But assuming that somebody is a transgender athlete, whether one side or the other, because they don't look like how you think a female should look like, or they don't look like how you think a male should look like, is absolutely fucking asinine. And you all should feel stupid for assuming. But rightfully so, ESPN came out again with an article and all the information stating who Imani Khalif is, where she came from, how she grew up, and the fact that she has a birth defect. And everybody wants to throw out the fact that, oh, she failed to gender eligibility test. Yeah. And what y'all don't realize, because y'all don't really know boxing or sports for real, for those y'all who just keep chirping and shit, the IBA is one of the shadiest boxing federations known to man. And for those y'all who didn't do your research even more, the quote unquote gender eligibility tests were unspecified. I don't know no sporting federation that tests for PEDs, gender eligibility, things like that don't specify what type of test it was. So maybe y'all need to do y'all research before y'all come at this one. With the fact that she went through all that crap and the girl that quit beat her 2 years ago, or 4 years ago rather, in the same event. So why y'all want to sit here and say she's got a competitive advantage, blah, blah, blah. She doesn't have any more of a competitive advantage than anybody with a little bit higher testosterone value as a natural born female. I would know. I'm one of those females who has a little bit more testosterone than the average female. That does not give me a physical advantage. Literally doesn't. That's neither here nor there. Fact of the matter is, these Olympics were great. Imani Khalif got her get back, got the gold for her country and her weight class. Team USA dominated and balled the hell out. Per normal, just like we thought they did and had expected them to do. 2028 Olympic preview. And still sticking on the sport of boxing. Currently, as it stands, boxing is being, again, reevaluated to see if they can find a new governing body for the sport, to see if they can make it safer, see if they can improve it somehow. But as it currently stands, boxing is not on the current slate for the 2028 Olympics. Now, for those of you who watch the Olympics, breakdancing, or breaking, quote unquote, is also now being peeled off of the 2028 LA Olympic slate in terms of sports that are available. I personally think boxing will be back. It's just finding a new governing body, or updating the governing body that Olympic boxing would fall under. Baseball and softball are also coming back to the 2028 Olympics, but here's what I don't understand. This is actually something that has driven me nuts all day. For those of you who know, I listen to a lot of sports radio. I've been recently getting back into the local sports radio shows here in Des Moines and the Infinity Sports Network. More or less, I was listening to the Rich Eisen show today. And unfortunately, I can't remember the host that was filling in for Rich Eisen, or that is for this week. But this person stated that Olympic softball for 2028 isn't even going to be anywhere near California. It's going to be held in the Mecca state of softball, which is Oklahoma City. And rightfully so. You already have complexes there. You already have an established presence of softball. But why would you add a sport back to the Olympic docket for sports in 2028 for summer, just to have it almost 1,000+ miles away? Unless you're going to set up a complete, unless you're going to have basically two hubs for 90% of the sports that are in LA for the next Olympiad, and the softball sector for the next Olympiad. Make it make sense. I think it's stupid. Hopefully they can give us a little bit better light when it gets closer, when they start to reanalyze or analyze the upcoming events for the 2028 Summer Olympics in LA. But this is a short list, a couple of the sports that are coming into the next Summer Olympics. men's and women's flag football. This is the chance for American football to make a statement and to show the IOC why American football should be added to the Olympic docket as, either a temporary spot or some kind of a permanence as far as, basketball, martial arts, things like that. You also have cricket, lacrosse, and squash. I also feel like lacrosse should have been an Olympic sport, but because of the supply and demand, you can't supply something if there's not that much of a demand for it. But lacrosse has literally grown so much over the past 4, 5, 6 years, collegiately, professionally, recreationally, in terms of youth and adults. I feel like they didn't have a choice but to put lacrosse in that docket for sports coming in. But that's okay, it's either here nor there, and that's what we're here for. Is we're here to speculate, and most of the information that I'm giving to you, you can find on ESPN.com, CBS, the Associated Press, as well as far as your Olympic information, the Olympic Sports app or theolympics.com. Quite literally, we're moving on into something that I literally have been itching to talk about. The WNBA returns on the 15th. After the Olympic and All-Star break, we get the second half of the WNBA season. I cannot wait for it. Starting out on the 15th at 1900 hours on Prime Video or 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, DT and BG take their Phoenix Mercury to visit the Chicago Sky in Chicago. Mercury comes into this game 13-12 off the break. Sky coming into this game 10-14 off the break. Washington Mystics also on Thursday the 15th, also at 1900 hours on ESPN3 and Bally Sports Network. Washington Mystics visit Nafisa Collier and Alyssa Peely and the 17-8 Minnesota Lynx. Washington comes into this game 16-9. And to round out the return slate of the WNBA off the Olympic break, New York Liberty, who are 21-4, visit the LA Sparks and De'Arica Hamby that are 6-18 at 2000 hours or 8 o'clock Central Standard Time on ESPN. Furthermore, De'Arica Hamby also files a federal lawsuit against the WNBA Aces, alleging discrimination and retaliation for being pregnant at the time of her playing for those Aces. So we will look forward to more of that in terms of the outcome and what that looks like as far as results and things like that. Going to move into some preseason NFL scores here. Not a lot of stats. Actually, no stats at all. More scores and just mental notes from things I saw and watched. My Dallas Cowboys fall to the LA Rams 12-13. Being able to see Trey Lance and being able to see him actually throw the ball and see what he could possibly be like after having that ankle injury when he was with the 49ers and essentially riding the bench most of last season behind Cooper Rush and Dak Prescott. Trey Lance is pretty accurate. He's got quick feet too. Had a little bit of trouble reading some defenses, but mostly everything with these preseason games and joint practices is really soft stuff just to give guys a little bit of a live look while they're getting tuned up and ready to start the season. Got to see Stetson Bennett throw the ball for the LA Rams. That was awesome. For those of you who don't know, Stetson Bennett is a national college championship football player out of the University of Georgia. 5th year, was a walk-on, had to come back after some stuff. Unfortunately, he did miss most of last year due to some personal issues that he had to get figured out. But it's good to see him back on the field and throwing. I really wish Blake Corum would have gotten some time, but I think they intend on having Blake Corum as one of their 2-3 backs as far as lines can rosters or depth chart is concerned. Geez, sometimes words are hard on a Tuesday. Moving on into the next game. That is the Denver Broncos versus the Indianapolis Colts. Bo Nix is a dude. Everybody's making this whole Bo Nix and all the rookies on the third string a big deal. It's not a big damn deal. He is a rookie. Arbitrarily, first-year players and some second-year players, depending on if they got hurt, end up being in the third string. Sean Payton literally came out in an interview and said it. But they also fully intend on having him take a lot of the first team snaps. Personally, I think he's going to beat out Jarrett Stidham. I mean, I don't see how he's not. And that's not to say Jarrett Stidham is a good quarterback. I think Bo Nix is a little bit better. He's a little bit more accurate, sees things a little bit faster as far as coverages, open holes, things like that. Same thing can be said for Anthony Richardson, who did unfortunately drop this game to Bo Nix, his fellow rookie cohort. While Anthony Richardson is a second-year player, he is a rookie in terms of play because he played 4 games and had to have AC joint surgery on his throwing arm. Anthony Richardson is a dude. If Anthony Richardson can get his feet under him and quick, like kind of like he displayed this past Sunday, I don't see how the Colts don't start him. The only other person I see the Colts starting that's not Anthony Richardson is Sam Ehlinger. Sam Ehlinger has been there for 2 seasons now, knows the offense like the back of his hand, but also sat behind Gardner Minshew, the man, the myth, the legend, the old school PE teacher with the mustache and the headband, still living his glory days from high school wrestling and college wrestling. Either way, you'll love to see it. Moving on, Saints take 1 from the Cards, 16-14. Chiefs drop 1 on the road to Jacksonville, 16-26. And you know what? Since we're still on topic of football, and I'm literally here for it because y'all know me. My primary is football. My primary 1B is martial arts, and my 2 is basketball. Actually, I would throw softball and baseball up there with my 1A and 1B. But football is like my drug. Oh my gosh. In a good way. Like, I'm so addicted to sports, it's scary, frankly. But unfortunately, I have to rip this college AP top 25. And it pains me. Because this list is decent. The order, however, is completely garbage. Like, let's start with the fact that Michigan is not number 1. Michigan is literally the reigning national championship team right now. They should automatically be 1, but instead it's Georgia for whatever reason. And I know a lot of these polls have to do with who they're returning, what they did in the previous year, what they did in the transfer portal, who left, who came back, that type of thing. Georgia does not deserve to be number 1. I don't give a damn what you say. I don't care if any of my cohorts from Georgia, my family members, y'all are Bulldogs, and y'all are Bulldogs to the day y'all die, and I love that for y'all. Y'all do not deserve to be number 1 on nobody's top 25 list right now. You can be happy with at least my top 25. You could be happy with number 5. Because you're lucky you're in the top 5. But you did enough. You dominated the SEC and then lost to Alabama. Lost to Alabama for the SEC championship, which literally took you out of the running for the CFP. But with the new CFP, again, now starting, college football starts in 18 days. The new CFP bracket is a 12-team bracket. So you might be able to squeak by if you do the exact same thing you've been doing. You might be able to squeak by. Ohio State, I'm not sure why they do this to Ohio State. They give them some super high number. They do phenomenal against terrible teams or subpar teams. And then lose to Michigan. And then all the excuses come out. They can be number 6, frankly. Oregon, I would keep at number 3. Oregon did a lot of damage in the final season of the Pac-12, presumably. I keep them at 3. Texas, I personally would put Texas at 2. It's between 2, 3, and 4. I like Texas at that 4 spot because they went down to Tuscaloosa and beat the rakes off of Alabama in Alabama, which is a hard feat to do. Just playing at Bryant-Denny Stadium is already hard enough, let alone doing it from Texas. And now that Texas and Oklahoma both are in the SEC, now there's no excuses. No, now it's not. It's not a cross conference thing. They are in the SEC as they should have been. I feel like a while ago. Bama, I feel like is okay at 5. Lost to Michigan in that semifinal, but Bama did what Bama does. Bama came and dominated in Nick Saban's last season as head coach. But with last season as head coach, you get Kalen DeBoer and some of his staff from the second runner-up national championship run that was the Washington Huskies and Michael Penix Jr. Ole Miss, I really don't know why Ole Miss, Notre Dame, or Penn State are in the top 10. Ole Miss, I'm throwing out. Notre Dame, I'm throwing out. They lost Sam Hartman. It's their head coach's second season, full season. Notre Dame didn't impress me much after the couple losses they took. So, I mean, I keep them in the top 25, but not the top 10. Penn State, they also always do this to Penn State. Penn State gets some wild-ass number in the top 25. They beat the brakes off a bunch of teams and then, beat the teams they're supposed to and then don't do anything afterwards and then end up losing in a bowl game, much like my Iowa Hawkeyes. Again, Michigan, who's after Penn State, should be number 1. Nothing to say there. FSU definitely deserves to be on the top 25. You go 13-0, then lose Jordan Travis to a very gruesome leg injury. Lose a game or two, then win a game by just pure defense because your second-string quarterback and third-string quarterback end up getting hurt. Your third-string quarterback ends up playing with what should be a very severe concussion or at least a neck injury, to say the least. I don't know why Mizzou is up there. They had a decent defense, but they're not better than any of the top 5 defenses, which literally include Alabama, Texas, Georgia, Iowa, and Michigan. So I'm throwing Mizzou out. Utah made some noise in the Big 12, so I would keep them on that list. Louisiana State University just produced 2 or 3 or even 4 first-round draft picks and a Heisman Trophy winner in Jaden Daniels. Clemson's overrated. I'm just going to keep it at that. But when you have the likes of Dabo Swinney, and they really haven't done anything since Trevor Lawrence, I personally think they're just on that list for namesake. Tennessee's a sleeper and always has been a sleeper. They've been recreating their program, and I think they can do damage. I just don't know who they have for receivers. But they do have a newer quarterback. He is a true sophomore, I believe. 6'6" kid. Unfortunately, his name is slipping my mind. That would force me to have to go back to my very first notebook of notes for this podcast in terms of notes and such. OU, I think because of OU's high-powered offense, they are constantly on this list, but kind of falter in the same respect. But I think with them moving to the SEC with their Red River Rendezvous rival in Texas, I think with them being in their natural conference that is the SEC, I think it's going to light a fire under their behind. So I'll keep them on the top 25. Oklahoma State, respectfully so, definitely deserves to be on there. They made some noise in the Big 12. Not a lot to be super impressed with in terms of moving them further up in the top 25, but definitely did enough damage to solidify a spot for at least the early goings in the top 25 for the AP poll. Miami, get Miami out of here. Miami doesn't even know how to take a fucking knee at the end of the game to finish, to solidify a win, but instead you want to do some trick shit and you got the ball picked off and Georgia Tech turned around, stormed it down 25 yards and scored on you. So Miami is out for me. Miami doesn't even deserve to touch the top 25. Texas A&M, I'm about the same feeling with Texas A&M as I am with Tennessee and Arizona. Arizona did some damage with their freshman quarterback and took USC into 4 overtimes, which is one of their huge highlights of college football this season alone. So they definitely deserve to be on this list. Kansas, who has slowly turned themselves into a football school, I think did enough across the board to solidify a spot. I know they picked up some people from the transfer portal from K-State, picked up some JUCOs, some really solid JUCOs. Returning most of their players from that rebuild of a run they had last season. NC State, I'm neutral on. Unfortunately, I didn't get to watch a lot of their games, but I know they did enough to be talked about constantly. They also had a couple first-round draft picks last draft and this draft. K-State, who seemingly enough I seem to skip over because of my notes. K-State, I'm also neutral on. I'm kind of in that in-between with TAMU, Arizona, Kansas, USC, and Oklahoma State. And then the almighty defensive powerhouse that happens to be my Iowa Hawkeyes. They always do this to Iowa, too. They put them on the top 25, and then they start to creep out of the top 25. And then the consistency of the lack of offense that they have had for the up-team many years I can think of, they seem to falter, and then they smash somebody or get a win that they're not supposed to, and they magically get put into like the top 15. I think the difference with this season is, as with the new offense, bringing in Tom Lester from Western Michigan University, who, ironically enough, each year that he has coached football outside of getting this job, whether a coordinator job or head coach, has been in the top 25 or top 35 offensive efficiency. I was also returning to key players from the offense that they lost last season in Cade McNamara, starting quarterback, and Luke Lachey, star and starter tight end. So I'm excited to see. Frankly, overall, I think this list is kind of garbage. Like, why is Georgia number one? Why is Ohio State number two? Listen, I could go over this list again, but I'm not going to bore you with those details. The fact of the matter is there's 18 days left till college football, and I'm here for it. Moving into some of the final topics here on the Mack Truck Podcast. Just some more news and notes brought to you by Adam Schefter of ESPN and CBS Sports. National College Championship quarterback, former Michigan Wolverine J.J. McCarthy, first-round draft pick, took undergo meniscus surgery after complaining about constant knee pain after the preseason game that he did just play in. No timetable for his absence or return. The surgery will tell us more what happens and once they give us more information. The Dallas Cowboys, oh boy, as much as I love my Cowboys, they seem to not have their priorities set and straight. But I guess that you can consider this a milestone. Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys becomes the first professional franchise to surpass $10 billion in value, which really tells you something. Not sure what it tells you, but to me, it tells me that, my favorite franchise in terms of football is making money, but it's also telling me they're not paying worth a damn. I still have a quarterback that needs paid in Dak Prescott. I still have a wide receiver that definitely needs paid in CeeDee Lamb. I have an edge rusher, or I like to call him a Swiss Army knife, in Micah Parsons, who needs paid as well. But that's neither here nor there. Moving on. Browns DT Mike Hall Jr. is charged with domestic violence after threatening his fiancée with a gun. Don't have many details on that, but as the details come, we will update you on such a thing. Moving into baseball, the Boston Red Sox, and for whatever reason, this just really doesn't shock me at all. You'd think I'd be surprised, yet here I am still shocked as hell. Outfielder for the Boston Red Sox, Jarred Duran, is suspended for 2 games after spouting out an anti-gay slur to a fan during Sunday's game. In a nutshell, Duran was already 0-2 at that at-bat with 2 strikeouts as well. A fan behind home plate basically shouts out, tennis racket, you need a tennis racket, because obviously, he can't see the ball and was having trouble hitting. So what does Jarred Duran do? He turns around and calls said fan a bleeping F-A-G-G-O-T, and I'm not going to fully say that word because it's disrespectful and disgusting. Well, that cute little slur you spouted out there, Mr. Jarred Duran, got you 2 games, and really should have got you more because that's disgusting. But it doesn't surprise me coming from the bigoted franchise that is the Boston Red Sox. I hate the Boston Red Sox. I hate mostly everything about the Boston area because of how bigoted it can be towards their teams can be towards fans and towards other athletic teams. It's garbage. He needs to do better. Additionally, moving on, I like to call him the man that climbed the Eiffel Tower, or Eiffel Tower man, who was seen climbing said structure just before the closing ceremonies this past Sunday for the 31st Olympiad, has now been released from police custody, but it still remains under investigation. I would assume they're investigating whether, how he got in, how it happened, all the details and such, maybe to reevaluate some charges, and initially that he was presented, things of that nature. And I'm going to just go ahead and say this. Personally, I commend him because, first of all, the Eiffel Tower is a very large structure. So to succeed in even making it that far to get yourself onto said structure to climb said thing, phenomenal. Stupid decision. Phenomenal confidence. So, listen, you like it, I love it, sis. Go ahead. Go on with your bad self. And finally, to round out this Mack Truck Podcast, we got a little bit of a controversy to talk about. I really don't know if it's a controversy per se, but I guess you could. I guess this is more of a 1v1. Tyreek Hill, who's literally the fastest man in the NFL, also world-renowned track athlete in his own right, was on the Up and Adams podcast where he stated that he could beat Noah Lyles in a foot race after claiming Noah Lyles faked COVID. Then had the audacity to say, I could beat Noah Lyles in a foot race, especially after what he did. Oh, you mean win the men's 100-meter final to win gold by 0.15 of a second and running a 9.81 to win it, and then turning around and winning bronze while being diagnosed with COVID? You sit here, you out here making all these stupid ass accusations because you're salty that he told you that he personally didn't believe that winning an NFL Super Bowl was the equivalent of being a world champion. I can see your frustration, Mr. Hill. While the NFL is mainly a domestic sport rather, in terms of playing in the States, the NFL doesn't technically fall under the world because lots of other countries don't have full kit, professionally paid and sought after 11-on-11 full kit tackle football teams. Now, while you do play around the world when you play for the NFL, Brazil, UK, Ireland, London, things of that nature, not quite considered a worldly manner. But I can see why that would frustrate him. But you also have to remember, Noah Lyles is also a troll in his own respect. Okay? Noah Lyles is a troll. He's known for trolling fellow athletes in somewhat of a respectful manner, but frankly, I think Tyreek Hill's butthurt. Although he's a 5-time All-Pro football player, his top speed is only just about 25 miles an hour. Noah Lyles' top speed is damn near 28 miles an hour. He's already got you beat by miles per hour. If they actually set this fight up, or this race up, Noah Lyles is still smoking him. It's going to be close because of adrenaline and all the other random factors, but Noah Lyles smokes Tyreek Hill all day, every day. And again, Noah Lyles is also known to say some outlandish things. He also said a very similar thing about the NBA championship, about it not being considered a world title or a world championship because you are playing domestically. Again, while you play the same sport in different countries, you're playing as an NBA team and not as Team USA playing Team Ireland or Team Argentina or whatever it is, which is the exact same point he made with the NFL. You're not playing as Team USA NFL football. You're playing as NFL football, playing another NFL team in another country that's not domestically in the United States. But that's neither here nor there. But that's all we got for you today, y'all. That's all we got for you today. Like I said, we took a week off, had to get our voice back, and we're starting to fade again. But it's okay. Had to fill you in on all the fun. Had to get it together. But we got it together. We will have another episode later this week. Shooting for tomorrow. More than likely going to be Thursday, though. WNBA starts Thursday. I can't wait. Oh, my God. And I genuinely just hope that everybody has had a good summer. I genuinely hope that everybody is just ready to knock out the rest of 2024 and keep kicking ass into 2025. I'm ready for it. You're ready for it. I'm glad you joined me today. Like I said, that's all we got for the night. Call me, beat me if you want to reach me. Okay? Just like Kim Possible says. In the illustrious words of Ellen DeGeneres, be kind to one another. And in the illustrious words of one of my greatest mentors, that is Pat McAfee, be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It could change their life. If you don't know how to podcast, bang that follow button. Goodbye!